Hello, how you doing? Welcome to the channel. So, big news to talk about today. Absolute transfer bombers to discuss. So, first off, where to start? Chelsea have announced, officially announced the signing of Jorrel Hato. We've all known that this has been coming for a while now. I've talked about it on this channel, and to be fair, other people have talked about it on the various channels as well. Fabrizio Romano has been hot on this one as well. Talked about it. Um, Medical was scheduled, I think, earlier on in the week, completed now. Now I think he signed his 7-year deal. So good to see him that he's joined club officially. So that's done. So Chelsea fans, I want to know how you're feeling about this one. How are you feeling about Jorrel Hato, now officially a Chelsea player? Now, for me, of course, it's obvious that I'm a Chelsea fan, so I would say I'm pretty happy with the deal with the transfer that he's now it's all done and dusted. So Cucurella now officially has backup, officially has someone to compete with. So that's good news in my opinion. So that's done, all settled. And how do you think he would fit into Premier League football? Because that's what people like to talk about. People like to say, would he actually fit in the pace of the Premier League? But I just believe if you get the right profile of players, play them in their rightful positions, they will definitely come good. That's how I view things in general. Because sometimes you see the player is bought and is played out of position, or played in a wrong system and he struggles, and then everyone starts to go on about, oh, this player is not good enough, like we saw with Romelu Lukaku. Romelu Lukaku, yeah, scored tons of goals for Inter Milan and then was signed by Chelsea. And for whatever reason, Tommy Tuchel played him out of position, not out of position, played the system that wasn't suitable to his strengths when Chelsea were looking for someone to come all out and then be the goal scorer. But Thomas Tuchel was looking for someone that would be more involved in the build-up play. And Jorrel Hato, if he's played at that left back spot predominantly, either coming on for Cucurella or starting some games, I think he will be good. But if for some reason Maresca decides to play him in some weird centre back sort of role, he could struggle. But I think he could shine in the three at the back. But if you're playing him as an outright, central defensive pairing, maybe a Colwill or a Tosin, I think he will struggle in that sort of two-man pairing, centre back and man. That's just my opinion. Now, there are other big news to talk about. Now, there's one I have to talk about. Chelsea fans want to know what you think. Other rival fans would want to think about it as well. Javi Simons obviously come the reports about him come to Chelsea, but we've also heard these reports that Tyreek George could be going the other way as sort of a make way, that RB Leipzig are interested in him, Frankfurt are interested in his services as well. So, and Fabrizio Romano has said that the young player is interested in leaving on a permanent basis. And say Chelsea like the player and they want to keep him, want to maybe send him out on loan. Now, for me, I don't know what you think, but if you like a player, I don't think you sign someone in his stead. Now, I get it that Bino Gittins is the first choice, 100%. He's the first choice. Now, you just signed him. And then Tyreek George should be able to compete with Bino Gittins. But when you sign Bino Gittins, in addition to Tyreek George, and then you now sign a Garnacho ahead of him. So, and we don't make any mistakes about it. When you sign a player for £30 million and you have one coming from the academy, the player you've just signed will be given the benefit of the doubt, will be allowed to start first. Now, yes, I'm seeing a lot of Chelsea fans saying, oh, you should want to fight for his spot. He should show his quality. How many people is he going to fight through? And let's not forget one thing. Nico Jackson, quite rightly, he's meant to be a striker, but right now you've got Liam Delap and you've got João Pedro. So what that then means is Nico Jackson may not be all too favored to play to the middle. Now he could end up playing out wide. That means you're now having to struggle with three players for that one starting spot. So I don't see how Tyreek George can win that battle, in my humble opinion. So I get why he wants to leave. But if I were to advise Chelsea, what I would say, we're not selling you. So get that out of your mind. You're tied to a long-term contract at the club. What will happen is you go out on the season-long loan to RB Leipzig, for instance, or Dortmund, for instance, and showcase what you can do. And of course, it would benefit both parties. You go out on loan to Dortmund, you shine and show what you can do there. Two things can happen. You play so well that Maresca can look at the team and say, okay, this guy should be part of the team. And who knows, Ganacho could then be sold. Or you could perform so well that even if you're sold at a higher value, bringing more revenue for the club, and as well allowing you to earn more money from other clubs, also from whichever club you end up going to. For the season, we are not going to sell you. That's how I see it. And I have to say this. As a Chelsea fan, I think it's absolutely crazy. It's absolutely wild that you want to let one of your top prospects go because of Ganacho. Now, I understand if a club wants to win now, you want to get one of the absolute world best players in that position. I get it. I get that 100%, right? I get that. If you get one of the best in that wing, say Rodrigo, for instance, or Ademola Lookman, then I'll take my hands up. Well, young kid, would have really loved to see you make your way through, but this team wants to win now. This team wants to go for the league title now, and we're getting Rodrigo, and we're getting Ademola Lookman. I understand that. But for a Garnacho, no, it doesn't compute. It doesn't make sense to me. I want to see what those opinions are in the chats there. And then there are other things we want to talk about. We want to talk about uh, Darwin Nunez. Darwin Nunez has attracted offers from Al Hilal, not the Saudi Pro League club. They've made an official proposal to the player, and they're keen on getting the player. So Liverpool fans, does that open up the purse strings for you guys to go on and splurge 150 million pounds that you want for that Newcastle United want for Isak? Maybe that does. So let's look at what they've had to say so far. So Darwin Nunez off to Al Hilal. At least that's what the reports are, that a bid has been made for Darwin Nunez, or at least a proposal has been sent for Darwin Nunez. So let's see. So I really want to know your opinions on this whole Darwin Nunez business. So for me, probably I would say he goes to Saudi Arabia, play one season, come back, and I think that would give Liverpool all the resources, all the money they need, to go all out and sign Isak. But I have to ask this question. I really have to ask this question about Isak. Is he really so important to you after you've signed a KTK? And remember, Salah is still the main man. Like, isn't that overkill? I think, in my opinion, I think it's slightly overkill. But I know as football fans, Liverpool fans will be saying, bring, give us, we'll manage it. He's a top player because Isak is a top player. No doubt, 100% he's a top player, but it's just a question of faith. So according to Fabrizio Romano, it says Al Hilal have presented official proposal to Darwin Nunez in terms of contract details, salary, after project presented as revealed in the last 48 hours, contract terms being discussed, Liverpool waiting for official bid to follow soon. So that's all good. That's fine. Let's see how that shakes down. So possibly Darwin Nunez could be heading out of Liverpool. That gives them resources to go out there and sign, Alexander Isak. Now that's done, and Newcastle United and Manchester United are stuck in a bidding war at the minute. So what that means is, if this deal pulls through for Liverpool, that is Darwin Nunez leaving the club, then that means they're going to sign Isak, and then that means Newcastle United can then go on to sign, and then go on to sign Benjamin Sesko from RB Leipzig. And from a Chelsea fan's perspective, I want to say this. Now it seems everything is honky dory. RB Leipzig are negotiating well with you. RB Leipzig are negotiating well with you. So you want to take your time. No. Get that Xavi deal done, because I smell a rat. I really do. Because once that deal is concluded, either way, let's say Sesko ends up at Newcastle United, then the Xavi Simons deal becomes a lot more complicated than it needs to be, and vice versa as well. If Xavi Simons is signed by Chelsea before Newcastle United complete the transaction for Sesko, I think things become a lot more difficult. You may end up paying north of 90 million euros, especially if Newcastle United pay you pay Newcastle if Liverpool pay Newcastle United, that lump sum of 120, 130 million pounds, whatever it is. So Andre says, "How you go? How are you? I'm good, thank you. How you doing?" Newcastle United should sell Isak for 150 million pounds and add-ons for Isak deal to Liverpool. Wissa and Benjamin Sesko doing his medical now at Newcastle United. I'm sure that'll be good news for them. But one question I want to ask, one question I want to ask. I know everyone now is crazy about Sesko. Fair play, 14 goals this season. But wouldn't it be better? Listen, wouldn't it be better? Hear me out. Wouldn't it be better to go sign a player like Tula Rokodare, who scored 23 goals this season, plus six assists, so that's 29 goal contributions. Won the Ebony Shoe in the Belgian league, and that would be for a fraction, just slightly more than a tenth of what you pay for Benjamin Sesko. A fraction of this 70 million, probably you pay 25 million euros thereabout. Wouldn't that be better? Wouldn't that be more value for money, more bang for your buck? As opposed to splurging all that cash. But probably people will say you're buying potential and all that. But Hilal Rukodare is very young as well. And then another person that would have fit in perfectly into how Newcastle United play would have been Rafiu Durushimi. He plays for Victoria Pleasant in the Czech League. I know Paul Ranger knows up Czech League. What do you mean? But Frankfurt had their eyes on him a couple of years ago, and they could see going for him. And trust me, when and if they do, Premier League clubs will pay premium for him, maybe 80 million euros in less than 18 months. So I was just thinking about that. Or is that we just look all clubs in the Premier League just have a list of players that they look at? Okay, we looked at Isak is probably off to Liverpool. Okay. Ekitike is off. Liam Delap is off. Yeah. João Pedro is off. Oh, this is the next one on the list. So let's see how that all turns out. And then there is Jeremy Jacquet. Jeremy Jacquet is a run defender, centre back. Arsenal reported to be interested in him if Zinchenko or Kivior will believe in their club, will believe in Arsenal, then they would go in for him. But his club has said he's not for sale. So, but Arsenal fans, is that even a priority area? Like, is that a priority area for you right now? I know you lost against Spurs, and it always stings to lose against Spurs, but is that a priority area for you going to sign the centre back? You've already signed Musquera, and we know Gabriel and Saliba are the first choice starting pairing at centre back. So you've got Musquera. Is that really something you need to go and deep into the market to get the centre back? And he's not going to come cheap either. So let's see how that shakes down. And with the Wissa thing, the reports I heard that Brentford were now more open to letting Wissa go. And so I think that's good for Newcastle United. At least they're getting some deals done, getting some names off the books and getting some roles filled, given that the season is about to start. That's one thing I'm happy from a Chelsea perspective, that you got the business done relatively early. You may have one or two areas that you need to fill in, like the Xavi Simons. For me, I think he is a 10, not a winger. A lot of people have come up with different sort of wrong profiling of the player. In my opinion, I think he's actually a 10. So Xavi Simons, let's see how that all shakes out. If they're able to get him, if that deal is done, that'll be brilliant as well. And also talking about Liverpool, talking about players signed by London clubs. Spurs have completed the signing of João Pedro. And I think some people look at it and say, João Pedro, what kind of player is that? Why are they signing him? I know he's not one of those super, attractive players or super sexy players, but he is what Spurs needs, and a lot of club needs those sort of players, tough tackling players who that set the tone of the game, set the tone of play. Tough tackling, protecting the back for allowing the team to attack. And I think that's one thing Spurs would have lacked last season. So I think that's a pretty good signing. Signing confirmed the medicals are completed. So fair play. Big, big news happening so far in the Premier League. So Chelsea fans, I want to know what you think about, Tyreek George possibly leaving. I've seen a lot of Chelsea fans saying, Tyreek George, you want to go, don't let the door hit your backside when you leave. Supposedly he needs to fight for his spot. But I mean, like I said, you can't tie someone's hand behind their back and expect them to fight. But that's what I think about it. So for Liverpool fans, you want to get Isak. If you get Isak, how would you set your team up? How would you be looking to set your team up? So how would you be looking to set your team up if you did get Isak? And some people say Hugo Ekitike would have to be on the bench. He's coming to lend the league. No, he's when you spend 95 million euros on a player or 95 million anything on a player, you're not signing that player to sit on the bench. That player is coming to start. That player is going to start and play significant minutes. So how would you play? How would you set up your team going into the season? We're even just a couple of weeks into the start of the season. So what are your thoughts and opinions on that one? Chelsea fans, it's sort of been about Garnacho. I really want to know what you think, because it's just like I have a difference of opinion from a lot of people. Some people are warming to the idea. For me, not so much. Not so much. I don't think that's a signing that Chelsea should be doing anyways. So I think Jeremy Jacquet, I think I have to read this. This is a tweet put out there by Romano about Jeremy Jacquet. So I ask, is he like the priority for Arsenal? I don't think so, but Arsenal fans probably would tell me different. You watch your team week in, week after week. So maybe it's what you need. So understand Arsenal already made an approach for Jeremy Jacquet as a new defender in case of exit of Zinchenko or Kivior. Rennes consider the defender not for sale this summer after extending his contract in May. Arsenal remain keen on Jacquet also eventually for 2026. So maybe it becomes one of those things where they sign him and loan him back to his present club, and then he joins the club joins Arsenal next season. Yeah, for me overall, I don't think Arsenal's problem is the defense. If they have any issue, is just like Chelsea, they need to get a 10 to compete with Odegaard. That's why I think the key areas for Arsenal, the left wing and the 10. Now the thing is with the left wing thing is, why is no Premier League club looking at Ademola Lookman? He clearly wants to leave Atalanta, and Atalanta are stalling the negotiations with Inter Milan. So why is no Premier League club looking in his direction? He's produced more than most left backs. I mean, most left wingers. So why aren't Arsenal looking in his direction? Clearly, you want to sign a left winger, and probably for what you signed him for, it's pretty cheap as left wingers go. Right now, I think it's valued about what Atalanta looking for is about 50 million euros. So why aren't Arsenal looking at Ademola Lookman? Why aren't they looking at getting his services? Because I think he would more than fulfill a need as well. And as a Chelsea fan, I would have loved him to be at the club. I would have loved if he was the one Chelsea were looking to sign instead of a Garnacho. That's what I would have been hoping for. But there you have it. You can't have everything you want now, can you? So happy that Jorrel Hato has been announced. So let me know your thoughts and opinions. Darwin Nunez is leaving Liverpool to go to Al Hilal. Let me know. And thankfully, he is leaving to go to Al Hilal, far away from Paul Winstanley, far away from Lawrence Stewart, because I think last season there was talk about them being interested in signing Darwin Nunez, and that Liverpool had rejected £60 million for Darwin Nunez. Now, don't get me wrong, Darwin Nunez has some talent, he has some potential, but right now we don't need at Chelsea. I don't think Chelsea right now at this moment needs another Jackson, because Jackson has potential, has ability, has speed and all that, but he doesn't do what a striker does regularly enough, or at least what is expected of a striker regularly enough, and you don't want to bring in Nunes to that mix. Plus, thankfully, right now you've got two actual strikers in the building. Let's see how that shakes down. So Nunes heading to Al Hilal. Thoughts and opinions on that one. Now it's a bit funny. I see Liverpool, no Liverpool fan is talking about them any sort of fraudulent thing going on, and they're not complaining so much about transfer. But if this was Chelsea, I'm sure they would have been complaining. Each time any transfer comes from any transfer bid or proposal comes from Saudi Pro League, people always complain. Rival fans always complain. But when it's your club, people don't tend to complain. They keep quiet, they enjoy it, they're happy that they're playing, so they're happy they get big cash in for the player, and then they can go on to sign the targets that they want the club to sign. So no Liverpool fan is complaining now about Al Hilal saying Chelsea has a relationship with PIF. I'll say news flash. PIF is a massive investment company. They have investments everywhere. Even in areas where you may not think they have investments in, they do. So get this out of your mind where everyone wants to try to make um, other clubs look dodgy, look fraudulent. You have to get your players sold. And the Saudi Pro League, if a player has some sort of quality, they get them in their club because they're just doing everything to build the brand of their league, to make their league as competitive as possible. So if you get a player, who has a bit of quality in Europe, you get them into the Saudi Pro League. It helps build the brand of the player. To say, oh, we signed a player from Liverpool, Uruguayan international, it helps boost the brand visibility of their leagues. So fair play to them, fair play to Liverpool getting that business done. So overall, what do you think about all the news items that we've talked about so far? Let me know your some opinions, in the chat. So I'll talk about Tyree George. I don't want him to go. I wish he would stay at the club. The same thing at the same time, I wish Garnacho would not be signed by the club because I struggle to see what he does bring. I'm sure Manchester United fans, you are happy, you're very excited and elated to see him leave, to see Garnacho leave. He keeps on liking different posts relating to Chelsea. Well, I guess that's what the kids do nowadays. Everyone goes on social media to show what their interest is, where their mind is. But for me, overall, I don't think he's a player that Chelsea needs. But every day, it just seems more and more certain that he will be signed. So fair play. If he comes, I'll support him, but it's not one that's really, really big on my mind right now for Chelsea. I mean, Chelsea needs more of an outright centre back and a goalkeeper, but the goalkeeping thing wouldn't be happening this season. Arsenal, think about the business you're doing. Is it really a centre back we need, or you need a left winger, as opposed to another centre back? Let me know your opinions on that one. And then as well, we're talking about the likes of Adama Lukman. No one seems to be going in for him. He wants to leave Atalanta, but no one is coming in, for the player. And then of course, Jorrel Hato announced by Chelsea coming into play at left back. Hopefully, that's where Maresca plays him. Don't want to see him, dying and struggling in a sort of weird centre back position. He is a left back. He can do a job in the back three, but not as an outright centre back, in my opinion. And then I think that number 10 role, Javi Simons, the deal seems like it will happen, but a lot of outgoings have to be done. And talking about Ademola Lookman, he's meant to go to Inter Milan, but Atalanta are stalling. So Inter Milan on their list, they also have Christopher Nkunku. So, and it appears that Chelsea may be open to accepting the offer they've made for Ademola Lookman. So, with regards to Christopher Nkunku, I think I'm okay with him leaving. He's a player that I felt like would have come good at Chelsea. That I felt like, would have done well for Chelsea because that preseason against Club America, He was so good. And what he did at RB Leipzig previously, I was like, yeah, this is the man to come, to change things for Chelsea. And he suits into the way Enzo Maresca wants to play. But for whatever reason, season starts, Enzo Maresca immediately stops rating him. And at some point, his head left. His head was gone. And people keep saying this, oh, you must fight as a player, fight to show you want to start a club. Now, you can only fight when the head coach, fancies you at the club, when he gives you the opportunity to fight. But when that opportunity to fight is taken off your hands, then how can you? First off, he was willing to play that striking position. He was willing to play as a striker. But even with respect to that position, he was barely getting minutes. 2 minutes here, 5 minutes there. And then in that 10 position, which I think would have been more suited to him, and I was ever looking forward to seeing Nkunku playing alongside Palmer, but that never happened, that for one. And even when Palmer was injured and struggling for form, we never had the likes of Joao Felix giving opportunity, even Nkunku wasn't given opportunities as well. So I think it's fair that he goes because there's no point having him in the club, especially when negotiations are ongoing to have a Javi Simons that will come in and compete for that spot as well. So I don't think there's any need, any point to have him at the club. I think he should be going. Also, we need to ask this question out there. Premier League fans, Arsenal fans, Liverpool fans, Chelsea fans, are you Manchester United fans? Are you happy with the business that your club has done so far, or are there other areas that you think your club needs to do some business? Speaking about areas where club needs to do some business, according to some reports, I'm not sure how concrete they are. I must say, Benjamin Sesko prefers the Newcastle United project, so most likely he could be going there. So Manchester United fans, if Benjamin Sesko, rebuffs you and heads off to Tyneside, joins Newcastle United, who would you want to go for as a striking option? Oli Watkins, would that be someone you'd be interested in? For me, it's a bit odd how people are sort of turning their nose up on Oli Watkins. He's full England international, scored tons of goals in the Premier League, 2 seasons on the bounce. So I don't get why people are all of a sudden looking down on the player. He's got pace, and people are coming with this weird thing. What if he loses his pace in the next 3 years? What if? Right now, Manchester United, you're in the absolute mud. Right now, you are in the absolute mud, Manchester United. So you take a top striker. He's a top striker now. What you need right now in Manchester United is that you need a striker that can come in and help lift you now in the next 2 to 3 years while Hoyland can develop or while you set your sights on other targets. And just like I said for Newcastle United as well, you've got strikers who are available and are ready to move in Tula Rokodare, for instance. In Rafi Zurushimi, for instance, are available to move. But it seems like Premier League clubs, they have certain names that they look for. And maybe the more expensive a player is, the more value that is placed on the player. Sometimes the player doesn't have to cost £100 million to be a player that can give you value. Sometimes you look at what the player has done. But anyways, Manchester United fans, what do you want your club to do if Benjamin Sesko doesn't join your club? First off, would you even be disappointed if he doesn't join your club? If he doesn't join Manchester United? For me, I don't really rate him as highly as everyone seems to do. Because come on, he scored 14 goals, 14 goals this season. That was getting you a it's close to £80 million move. He's a nice prospect. It's someone that can develop. It's someone that can be great in the next, let's say, 2 3 years. But 80 million euros, and that's not even what RB Leipzig would be accepting. They'll be looking for a bit more. And I think that according to reports, Newcastle United will be offering him a lot more wages. So it's just crazy. Well, I wish I had Benjamin Sesko's agent. I really do. I wish I had his agent because it's just crazy how he's ended up how how he's ended up being in the subject of this transfer battle, between two clubs that are willing to spend such huge amounts on him. But possibly they'll say that signing potential, that's what they want to, that's what they're looking to 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 acquire potential and maybe upside and all that stuff. So let's see how that all shakes down. When it comes to the Premier League, we'll see. We'll see what it's all about. We'll see what he's able to do. Thomas Partey. Thomas Partey set to join Villarreal. Boom, boom, boom. Thomas Partey to Villarreal. I think I think if he leaves to Villarreal, Thomas Partey, that then is an issue for Arsenal in terms of, so who then plays that defensive midfield? Okay, fair play. You've got Declan Rice there. First, you've got Declan Rice. So that's fair. So I wonder what happens to the charges about him. So Thomas Partey is set to join Villarreal as a free agent. 32-year-old midfielder available after Arsenal contract expired, signing for Villarreal on a 2-year deal. Football important factor. Ghana International completed medical ahead of proposed move. So that's all done. That's, for some reason, that seemed to have sneaked up on me. Well, so okay. AD, it's like you're in the know. So tell me, do you work for the you work for Newcastle United brass? This is how you go. How are you, Benjamin Sesko arriving at Newcastle United, and Ugo is Sesko arriving for his medical at Newcastle United now. Arriving for his medical. Oh well, that's a good one. Let's see what happens. I think Newcastle United is a good development ground for Sesko, if I'm honest. But for me, it's just that don't quite rate him that highly. But fair play to Eddie Howe, because when Isak joined Newcastle United, he wasn't world class. I wouldn't even say super world class. He wasn't world class at all. But under the tutelage of Eddie Howe, he was refined, his game improved, and he improved season on season under Eddie Howe. So maybe, just maybe, that's what Newcastle United are looking to replicate with Benjamin Sesko. And that just speaks to one reason he shouldn't be going to Manchester United. Because right now, Manchester United is a pressure cooker. If you're going as a striker, you must be ready to hit the ground running. And that's why I think Oli Watkins could be an absolute hit move to Manchester United. Because you've had, I think, you had Rasmus Højlund, that was highly rated at Atalanta. But fair play, I think he was overpriced because he had just got 9 goals. But similar to Benjamin Sesko, he was highly rated. Manchester United splurged the cash on him, signed him in, and he struggled. So going in to sign another young striker that will still have to come into the Premier League, find his feet again in that present state that Manchester United is in, I don't think that's a very good. That would be very good for him, because any mistake, any misplaced pass, any misplaced strap, you know, any miss he makes, any mistake he makes will be certainly under the microscope. Will certainly be under the microscope and hard scrutiny. And I know the Manchester United fan base will be so unforgiving. The media will be so unforgiving. So I think while Newcastle United are a big club, I think they're a more settled place for him to grow. For him to go and to grow. Yeah, so I think going to Newcastle United would be a better move for Benjamin Sesko overall, in my personal opinion. And Oli Watkins, everyone seems to be looking down on him and thinking he's not a good player for whatever reason. I just think in football, people like the sexy names. Benjamin Sesko is the one that's in vogue right now. But when you look at what he did last season, in fact, let's think about this. Did Benjamin Sesko score more goals than Oli Watkins? Did he? I don't think so. I think Oli Watkins scored more goals. Let's see. Let's check Oli Watkins stats. Wait a minute. Let's just see if I can bring this up. Let me see if I can bring up Oli Watkins stats for the season. Only Watkins, only Watkins. Let me see if I can bring this up. Mm-hmm. So he scored 16 Premier League goals and one Champions League goal. So that's two more than Benjamin Sesko has scored. He's got 16 goals. So only Watkins scored 16 goals in the Premier League last season, scored one goal in the Champions League, and that's still more league goals than Benjamin Sesko has scored. So for me, I don't see the madness over Sesko. He's a player that can develop for sure, but if you can get him, Ollie Watkins is a nice bet. Or Manchester United, how about you build around Rasmus Højlund? Invest the money you want to spend on Sesko, on a Rodrigo, for instance. You know, you've already got Acuna, you've already got Mbeumo, you get Rodrigo. And let's face it, Amory's system, he wants to play with two tens and a mobile striker. So Cunha can be your Jokeres. Maybe if you have Rodrigo and Mbeumo sitting behind him, and then Cunha could be that mobile striker that you need. He definitely has the pace to lead the transition, lead the attacks in the transition. So maybe that's what you go for. So let me know thoughts and opinions on the various topics we talked about. Arsenal going for Jeremy Jacquet, the French centre back, 20-year-old. Is that some business you want? Is that kind of deals you want to be done? Let me know. Sesko seeming like he's heading to Newcastle United. Thoughts and opinions on that one. Let me know what you think about that deal being done. Newcastle United fans, I think sometimes we even assume that every Newcastle United fan is in love with the idea of signing Benjamin Sesko. So, thoughts and opinions on that one, Newcastle United fans. Is he a player that you would be wanting, that you want? And then of course Chelsea fans, Jorrel Hato, are you feeling excited for the season? Seeing that the backup for Cucurella has been signed. Are you feeling about the signing? I'm happy about it. And then of course the big news about Tyreek George leaving the club, possibly leaving the club on a permanent basis. For me, it doesn't compute well in my head. I don't get why it should happen. I don't get why that should be the case. I don't quite understand. I don't appreciate it because it's not like you're getting some wall beater in the building. So if you're getting some top class left back, world class left back, then it would have made a ton of sense to me to get, to let Tyreek George go. If you're looking at it from a pure, cold-hearted business point of view. So when you look at it from a cold-hearted business point of view, and it doesn't make sense, then overall it doesn't make any sense. Because the moments he's had this past season coming off the bench, and even when the few times he's had to start, he's shown you that yes, I can make it at this level. And for me, what you look for academy players I think the progression of academy players, we look at it from 2 points of view, from two angles. The first one is what you do at the academy. Are you playing well? Are you shining? Are you showing that you are above that level? Fine, he's done that. Box ticked. Then you go to the next level. Now that you've passed that level, you show that you're above that level. Now you're heading to the next one, which is you're not going to be playing men's football. Can you show that you belong there? Can you show that you belong playing football with mortgage paying men? He's gone in there and he's shown that yes, he belongs there. He's shown it in the conference league. He's shown it in the league games that he had to play. So he's shown that he belongs in there. And now it's fair if you say you want to let him go and you're getting Rodrigo, for instance, you're getting Ademola Lookman, for instance. You say, okay, yeah, kid, we love your progression, but right now the caliber of players we're getting, and we just want to win right now, we can't really guarantee you any game time. But when you're going to get another academy product, because let's face it, that's what Garnacho is, an academy product that was given game time, get him another academy product from another club in to take your spot, immediately that just tells the player, I've got to leave. Because if it was just Gittins, I believe he would stay. I believe he would stay. But if you're going to sign another one, and let's not forget this, there's something I feel about Nico Jackson. He may very well be another left wing option. So you have your Gittins, you have a Garnacho, and possibly have a Nico Jackson. So, and all of them will be placed ahead of you. Let's face it, the more financial investment made on the player, the more value is placed on that player, and the more game time that player attracts. Except the player absolutely stinks the shop up, then he's dropped. But in the first 2 to 3 months, or at least the first 2 months, that player will be given game time. So when you have been getting signed for 60 odd, he will have game time. And then the next one will be Garnacho if Jackson doesn't play there. So you now have to fight for a starting berth with these players. And I don't think that's something that you think a young kid you will be up to. I just don't think so. So fair play if he leaves, I would rather prefer him go out on loan. So Liverpool fans, how would your team set up? How would your team set up if you indeed sign Alexander Isak? Is he even a player that you want at this minute? So apparently he's going to resume training. Is he a player you even want at club at this minute? And then another news about another Newcastle United striker, at least a former Newcastle United striker that left the club. He's gone to West Ham. For me, I struggle to see what Callum Wilson would do at West Ham. I struggle to see it. I know he is a decent player, but I struggle to see what he would do for a club that is struggling at West Ham. Right? I struggle to see what he would do there, but there you have it. Let's see what he is if he's indeed able to do anything there. So West Ham United agreed deal to sign Callum Wilson as a free agent, 30-year-old striker available following expiration of terms at Arsenal at Newcastle United, England international joining West Ham United on a one-year contract with heavily incentivized or incentive-based salary, medical completed. So that is all good for him, all good to go, good to join West Ham under Graham Potter. Let's see how that all shakes down. So I think those are the major transfer news or major transfer topics that have sort of made the news this evening. So thanks for all those who have watched, who subscribe to the channel, who support the channel. Share this video to people you feel will love content like this, or subscribe to the channel if you're new. And I will see you on yet another video. Stay well, stay blessed.